Joker is a one-of-a-kind film that shatters many comic book movie conventions with an intriguing alternate origin story for DC's most iconic villain. As a gritty and frighteningly realistic character study, it peels back the layers on Arthur Fleck as we witness the emergence and triumph of the supervillain inside him. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, welcome to the Secret Genius series, where this week we're discussing the cinematic brilliance of Joker and how the film crafted a uniquely credible supervillain. So consider this your spoiler warning and prepare to unleash your inner movie lover as we dive into the insane genius of Joker. At its heart, Joker is a movie about the emergence of a force inside a man that's fighting to get out and be seen.
One small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Director Todd Phillips has described Arthur as the ego that's trying to contain this wild horse that is Joker. In the opening scene of the movie, we can see the internal struggle between Arthur and the Joker, which the film's screenplay describes as a living comedy tragedy mask. And we can see the Joker still trying to turn tragedy into comedy in the next scene, after Arthur's been beaten up and he reaches into his coat pocket to squirt water from his flower. Phillips has said this is Arthur showing that he's still Joker. He's still seeing comedy in this moment of pain. It's a clever hint again early on in the movie at the unstable force inside Arthur that will erupt in brutal fashion as the movie progresses, as well as being a neat little Easter egg to the Joker's famous acid flower. The first fantasy sequence of the movie gives us a look inside Arthur's mind and reveals what will turn out to be a common desire between him and Joker, a need to be seen. And it's this common desire that ultimately allows Joker to get the better of Arthur and eventually take over completely. As Arthur watches the Murray Franklin show with his mother, he fantasizes that Murray picks him out from the crowd, and as the spotlight shines on him, he sees himself as a unique individual in the audience.
What's your name?
Arthur?
Arthur.
My name's Arthur.
Oh, okay. Well, there's something special about you, Arthur, I could tell.
And he clearly relishes the approval and applause he gets from the audience and Murray when he explains his special purpose in the world.
She says I was put here to spread joy and laughter.
I like that. I like that a lot. Come on down.
This scene shows how Arthur has this force inside him seeking attention and begging for validation, and demonstrates Joker's narcissism, which Phillips has described as being baked into this version of the character.
That was great, Arthur. Thank you. I mean, I loved to hear what you had to say. It made my day.
At this point, Joker is still somewhat contained in the recesses of Arthur's psyche, helped by the 7 types of medication he takes. However, Arthur asks his social worker if she can help him get a stronger dose from his doctor, as he can sense Joker beginning to assert control. Of course, later in the movie, when the Joker has fully taken over, Arthur reveals he's given up on his meds.
I feel a lot better now. I stopped taking my medication.
And the first trigger for Joker's emergence seems to come when Randall gives Arthur a gun to help him defend himself. We get to see Joker's wild energy out in the open when Arthur rages in an alleyway after feeling he's been treated unfairly by his boss. And later that night, as Arthur fondles the gun and while watching a Fred Astaire musical, he begins to dance.
Hey, Arthur. You're a really good dancer. No. No, it's not. Him.
When the gun goes off, it brings Arthur back, but this is the first real hint of the deadly violence the Joker can unleash. And the way that Arthur has a conversation with himself also illuminates the struggle for control that Joker is having with him. There's another fascinating example of this in the scene of Arthur writing in his notebook after his visit to the comedy club. He's partway through a joke and stops for a moment. As he resumes, his face takes on a creepy smile and, crucially, he switches writing from his right hand to his left hand, and his body movement becomes more mannered. Up until this moment, we've only seen Arthur write with his right hand, and the change indicates how Joker is taking over again. As the switch happens, the score also becomes more jarring, which combined with Arthur's sinister grin and the punchline that he ends up writing, is a dark foreshadowing of what's to come. The switch from Arthur's right to left hand also occurs at several other key moments in the movie. When he kills the Wall Street guys and Murray, he fires the gun with his left hand, and he switches to smoking with his left hand just before killing his mother, and again he grabs the pillow he uses to suffocate her with that same hand. This detail is especially fascinating because in real life some people with multiple personalities have been observed to switch their dominant hands whenever an alternate personality takes over. Okay, with the Joker now more in control, not only does Arthur's dominant hand change, but he also switches into one of his fantasy worlds as he hears the apartment buzzer ring with an imaginary Sophie coming by to see him.
Hey, are you following me today? I was hoping you'd come in and rob the place.
I have a gun. I'll come by tomorrow.
So funny, Arthur.
By the way, a little clue that this isn't real is just how self-assured Arthur is with Sophie in this moment, as only his Joker personality seems to have this confidence. Arthur's Joker persona also gives him a similar sense of self-assurance when he kills the 3 guys on the subway. And although Arthur panics after the realization of what he's done and runs scared from the scene of the crime, Joker re-emerges to take control, performing that distinctive slow and controlled dance. The Joker's power is so strong that in the very next scene, Arthur is transported back into a fantasy world as he confidently strides up to Sophie's apartment and kisses her. Arthur now comes to a realization that unleashing the Joker, his darker nature, is how he can achieve the recognition he believes he deserves. As Arthur explains to his social worker, he suddenly doesn't feel invisible any longer.
Until a little while ago, it was like nobody ever saw me. Even I didn't know if I really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
Little by little, Joker starts to control and warp Arthur's sense of reality. When Arthur goes to perform his stand-up routine, he has an uncontrollable laughing fit, a prelude to the Joker manipulating his psyche by changing the reality he experiences into one where the audience applaud him and Sophie watches on adoringly. As the imaginary evening rolls on, the Joker inside Arthur receives even more validation as he sees people in Gotham wearing clown masks, and Sophie praises the subway killer.
I think the guy that did it is a hero.
Arthur is clearly enjoying the feeling that Joker is feeding him, but before Joker can take over completely, Arthur has to go through a painful breaking point and process. This begins when he's confronted with the truth of how badly his stand-up routine actually went, and he sees himself mocked and ridiculed by his idol Murray Franklin.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
The reality of his life is about to hit him even harder though, as he discovers from Thomas Wayne that he was adopted and his mother was locked up in Arkham Asylum. This is seemingly corroborated when he reads his mother's hospital file and discovers that he was also abused as a child. And as he spirals further into depression, he's faced with the fact that his relationship with Sophie is entirely fictional. That night, Arthur goes into a non-stop laughing fit, indicating that Joker is now completely taking control of him. As he explains the next day to his mother,
He used to tell me that my laugh was a condition, that there was something wrong with me. There isn't. That's the real me.
as Joker now, Arthur rejects his life of misery and embraces the chaos, killing his mother calmly and without hesitation.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
Arthur's transformation into the fully fledged Joker nears completion as he dyes his hair and applies his clown makeup and costume. Midway through the process, he mercilessly and dispassionately murders Randall when he comes by. And as Joker performs his dance down the enormous staircase near his apartment, his gleeful energy contrasts with the sense of drudgery we saw when he was Arthur slowly trudging up the stairs, his head stooped. Arthur takes on the Joker's love of anarchy as he revels in the riot that unfolds when Burke shoots a protester dead, and he dances as they attack the policeman. Joker, of course, doesn't really care about the protests and freely admits he's just happy to exploit the image he's created.
What's with the face? I mean, are you part of the protests? Or?
No, I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in anything. I just thought I'd be good for my act.
And after killing Murray and being arrested by the police, he laughs at the riots and chaos he's inspired.
Stop laughing, you freak. This isn't fun.
Yeah, the whole city's on fire because of what you did.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?
And in that final scene before the epilogue, Arthur completes his transformation into the Joker as he paints a bloody smile onto his face and relishes the mayhem and destruction he's brought on the city. And by painting that bloody smile, Arthur resolves the internal struggle he was having in the opening scene and decides from here on his life will be as Joker. The epilogue cements the pure villain and sociopath that Arthur has become. Any empathy he used to have has faded away entirely. He cackles to himself as the camera cuts to a shot of young Bruce Wayne standing by the dead bodies of his parents. Earlier on in the movie, Arthur stopped himself from seriously injuring, perhaps even killing Alfred at Wayne Manor when he saw the young Bruce looking on, but now he views it all as one enormous joke. This change in Arthur is evident in his conversation with Murray.
Well, let me get this straight. You think that killing those guys is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
He even appears to kill the hospital doctor, who as far as we know is someone who's probably never done him any harm. This is in contrast to how he deliberately spared Gary from Randall's fate because he was one of the few people who'd been good to him. What's also so striking about this version of the Joker is that Arthur Fleck is a very realistic supervillain, something uncommon in comic book movies. This Joker isn't a criminal mastermind who's concocting outlandish, convoluted plots to terrorize Gotham City and bring down Batman. The murders that Arthur commits are not only personal, so you can really feel the weight of them, but they are also, sadly, more possible to be committed by an everyday person. In fact, when neurocriminologist Adrian Raine watched Joker, he was stunned at how authentically the movie traces the way a man could be driven to deeply troubling acts of violence by a combination of genetics, childhood trauma, untreated mental illness, and societal provocation. Arthur doesn't operate according to a grand plan. When he kills the Wall Street guys, it's not because he's trying to inspire a political uprising. It's an instinctive reaction that's brought on by the emergence of the Joker inside him.
I might understand that you did this to start a movement, to become a symbol.
Come on, Murray. Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful.
However, it's chilling to consider how easily Arthur's Joker rises up to become an icon for the masses. His final words to Murray just before killing him,
Police, get what you deserve!
become a slogan that one of the masked clown protesters uses against Thomas Wayne.
Hey, Wayne. You get what you deserve.
No, pal!
And like some modern politicians and demagogues, Joker is more than happy to exploit that popular resentment against the elite for his own selfish reasons. In this way, Arthur's Joker ends up being a more true-to-life villain with a genuine ability to upend the social order than the Dark Knight's Joker, who proclaimed himself an agent of chaos.
Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
Now, don't get me wrong, Heath Ledger's Joker is certainly my personal favourite to date, but it's Arthur Fleck's Joker who actually succeeds in turning the population of Gotham against the ruling class. For all his sophistication and grand, complicated schemes, the Dark Knight's Joker ultimately failed. Of course, 2019's Joker is a supervillain movie told from the villain's perspective, and The Dark Knight is a superhero movie in which the hero ultimately foils the villain's plans, even if it costs him his reputation. So it's fitting that in this story, Thomas Wayne is generally portrayed as an unsympathetic elitist who cares little for those less fortunate than him.
Those of us who have made something of our lives will always look at those who haven't as nothing but clowns.
Which contrasts greatly with the Christopher Nolan version, who genuinely seem to care for the people of Gotham.
The city's been suffering. People less fortunate than us have been enduring very hard times. So we built a new, cheap public transportation system to unite the city.
This new Thomas Wayne perhaps feels more true to our times, and the protests against him and the Gotham elite resonate more with the real-life gaping chasm between rich and poor, and contemporary feelings towards the super rich. Also adding to the movie's realism is how the story sets out the original source of Joker's trademark laughter as a real-world condition known as pseudobulbar effect.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
Sorry.
The genius of this choice is how Arthur's affliction is not only unsettling for him as it makes him feel socially awkward, but it also highlights the tragedy of his life as it marginalises him from the rest of society. And it's fascinating that once Joker takes full control of Arthur, his laughing fits disappear and he's then able to laugh at will. As Todd Phillips has said, this version of Joker feels grounded in reality, which is why it shies away from a more over-the-top origin story for the villain. We don't have him falling into a vat of chemicals to change his appearance, and even some of the more perhaps extreme moments in the original screenplay were modified in the final film. For example, the initial idea was that Arthur had scars around his lips from harming himself as a child by cutting a smile into his face, and this would have been revisited in the final scene of the movie where Arthur would have used broken glass to cut a bloody smile into his mouth, in clear reference to Heath Ledger's Joker. And if you'd like to learn all about the original Joker script and the other deleted scenes from the movie, you can tap here to watch my full video on that, or follow the link in the video description. Now, what did you most appreciate about Joker? Leave your thoughts and comments below. This is the first video in my new series, The Secret Genius of Cinema, where each week we look at a new way of watching and understanding movies to help you become a better movie lover. If you enjoyed this, then do like and subscribe to make sure you get each new video. Feedback and requests are appreciated. Tap left to watch the full playlist, or tap right for another video you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!